Welcome to this Postal Methods and QuickBooks Online tutorial. Now the first thing you're going to want to do is go to your QuickBooks Online website portal, and you want to decide first of all, are you going to send an email and a physical copy of the invoice to all of your customers, or is it only going to be for individuals who actually want or need to have a letter sent to them? So if you are going to send them all a invoice via mail, then one of the things you need to do is go to the gearbox in the top right hand corner. You also need to go to account settings, and in here under sales you will need to go down here to your messages. And at this point here, if you're going to send this out to every one of your customers, in other words, if you're going to send out a physical copy of their invoice to all of your customers, then in this blind BCC spot, you're going to put in the email address send@letter.postalmethods.com. Again, that's send@letter.postalmethods.com. Then you would click on Save. However, if you're not going to send this to every one of your customers, an actual copy in the mail of it, then you would just take that out. Don't do that, and leave that alone. But also, while you're in this section here, one thing you do want to do is go here to online delivery. And in this case, you're going to want to do this for everybody. So you're going to check mark in this box here the PDF attachment. That way, whenever you do send out an email, they also get a PDF copy of it. That way, that's there for them to see and do and use if they would like to do so. So in that case, make sure that is done, period, across the board. So click Save on that. Now, you also want to go up here to Company. Now, the Company section, this is the very important part of it. You want to go here and make sure, go ahead and uncheck that box there, and make sure that this email address right here is the same email address that you have within your Postal Methods account. So in Postal Methods, when you set up the account, you put in a particular email address. You want to make sure that email address that's used in Postal Methods is the exact same email address that you're using here in the customer facing email spot. Now, they can be the same here and here. They don't have to. This email address up here is the email address that you use to correspond with QuickBooks. This email address on the bottom is the one you're going to use to correspond with your customers, and it's the one that needs to match what is in Postal Methods. So they can be two different ones, but this one here on the bottom does indeed to be the exact same email address that's used in your Postal Methods account. So once you've done that, click Save here as well. Now you're going to go to Done to get out of this section right here. Now the next thing you want to do is make sure that your invoice is set up properly so that when it is sent to us, it'll fold up to such to where the address is printed on the letter will show through the number 10 windowed envelope that we use. So to make sure that's possible, go ahead and go here to Sales, Invoices. You can select any of the invoices that you have in here. Click on Edit, and once you're in here, you want to be able to make those changes. So you're going to go to Manage. Now you notice these areas showed up here. You want to go to Design. Now, in this case, right now, the modern one is not the default, but it could very well be in your case that it is default. In fact, when you see it, it could be just like that. So you want to make sure that modern is not the default. So we're going to remove that. Go ahead and save that. Once you have made it to where modern is not the default, then you're going to go over here to Standard. And the reason we're doing this is because, once again, in the modern format, the addresses do not line up properly so that when it gets sent to us, it won't print properly. So you want to make sure you do that, but there's one additional step you want to do here as well. You want to go here to Add, Edit. First of all, let's go ahead and save that. just to make sure that is the default standard. Go ahead and add edit. And once you're in this section, you're going to click to edit again. And now I'm going to go here to edit print settings and make sure that this is checkmark green. So that is good. That's what you want. Do done on that. So now that has been formatted correctly. Now, with regard to your actual customers, let's go down here and let's look at your customer area. We'll select one of your customers. Now in here, the email address for your customer, which is exactly what you want, and that's good. So all your customers will have that. That way when you send an invoice out, they get an emailed copy of that invoice. So this will apply to everybody, all your customers who would like an emailed copy of their invoice. So make sure that's done. Let's save that. But now, when it comes to the actual invoice itself, let's go to the invoice again. Go back, we'll select whoever it is you want to do this for. So if you're doing it from scratch, then you'll set it up this way from the very beginning for your particular customer that you're putting in. But if you already have your existing customers, you're going to want to modify for each of your customers, just a one-time thing, you're going to have to do this. So for instance, let's say in this case, not all of your customers are going to need to be sent a physical copy of the invoice. So for those who you do want to send a physical copy of the invoice every time, go to each of those customers. Again, this will be a one-time thing. And go to each of them, go to edit. And the default is to send to them, which makes complete sense. They're going to get a copy emailed of that invoice. But you also want to make sure that we're sent a copy of that. So in this section here, under BCC, you're going to input that email address, which is send@letter.postalmethods.com. Then you're going to save that. Save it here as well. And now, from this point forward, moving on, that particular customer will have that invoice emailed to them, and then an emailed copy of that same invoice will be sent to postalmethods.com, and will automatically process and mail them a physical copy of that invoice as well. Okay, but it could be different, say someone else, for instance. Say with Jane, for instance, we go to edit hers, and in her case, you don't want her to receive a copy of it mailed to her. So in this case, we'll take that out. Now, of course, you won't have to do this for all of them because, again, as you're going in to make your customers to where they do receive a letter, that won't be done already. But in this case, I had already done this previously, so that was there. So I'm taking it out so that this person doesn't get a letter. But for everyone who you do want to receive a physical letter, you would do this once, save it, and from that moment forward, moving on, whenever you do send out batch emails, then automatically we'll send out emails. For those who are email only, will only get one to their email, but for those who you actually added the blind copy with the send@letter.postalmethods.com, they will get a physical copy of the invoice sent to them by postalmethods.com. Okay, so something else you want to pay attention to when we're inside this invoice, getting it set up, is this bill to area here. Because whenever we put our customer information in there, we also put the company name, it automatically populates this section here, which is going to print on the invoice with both the customer name and the company name. But in order for this to fit properly in the envelope window, it needs to have one of these lines removed. So we need to adjust that. But the way we do this is by clicking a mouse inside this box and clicking in here, not going to the edit customer. We don't want to do that. That's not where we want to go. We want to go inside the box and actually remove either the company name or the customer name. So that whatever you want printed on that invoice to show through the window is what you want to keep. So in this case here, I'm going to take out the company name. It doesn't take it out from the system. It's still in there in the system, but just for this invoice, it now knows you only want the name and the address for this invoice. Now that we've done that, we want to click Save. So that setting is saved. And now we're good to proceed moving forward with this particular part of the invoice. Now, whenever you do send a document through the portal. Here, you're happy with it, you're going to send that invoice. That has been sent off. Now, we go to our Postal Methods account, and we're going to look for that document to come on over. And there it is. It has come on over. So, as we know, once it comes over, eventually it will populate the information that we need here. You just need to refresh the screen from time to time just to get it to update. And there you see how it is populated. The cost is good, everything's good, everything checked out. And because we checked the option to make sure it fits in an envelope, it also will print properly, and we're good to go. All right, so I want to go back just a bit and show you another thing that you can do once you have your invoices completed and done. You set them all up, then it's that much easier the next time, because then you can do a bulk invoice send. So for instance, these 3 invoices are now completed and done because we set it up properly. We were to go over here and check mark this box here. It selects all of them. Then you can do a bulk action, and we can just do send. And now we see that that has been sent to postalmethods.com because we set everything up in the background. And now we'll look at what it looks like in Postal Methods. As we'll go to our Postal Methods account now, and we'll refresh the screen, and we see that they gradually are starting to populate and come on over. And it makes it so much easier to do it this way. As it starts to populate in here and we see everything comes in clean, everything looks nice, we have a green check mark, everything looks good. And now that invoice is going to populate properly, be printed and mailed out. Okay, so you see now that we have all this set up in here, everything looks good, and we're good to roll. So see, it's a much simpler way to doing it, of taking advantage of the benefits of the QuickBooks Online account, but merging it with the benefits of Postal Methods, and it's a wonderful partnership. So that's how easy it is to integrate your QuickBooks Online with Postal Methods, making your life much easier.